And we are back. New York City stands at a critical crossroads, challenges ranging from the high cost of living to ensuring public safety and affordable housing. Our next guest dedicated his life to tackling these issues head on. His early career in public service to his time as a White House aide, where he worked to create jobs and foster economic growth under the Obama administration. Joining me now is the candidate for the 2025 New York City mayoral election, the Reverend Michael Blake. Former assembly members. Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Good to see you, Rev. What's up, man?
All is well, man. I'm here, man. I'm trying to maintain it.
Your Blazer game is strong.
It is?
I support this.
Listen, I support you. You looking good, too.
I'm trying. I'm working right now.
Yeah, you grinding. Listen, with all that's going on between Washington, D.C. and then New York City, we know what's happening with Mayor Eric Adams. Talk to me about just your vision as you see New Yorkers right now, because a lot of New Yorkers are in limbo.
Yeah, we want to be very clear to my fellow Bronxites and all New Yorkers that we're paying too much and we're getting too little back and we deserve better. And fundamentally that we can have economic justice where you make more money while also making sure we make impact. And my entire vision is tomorrow begins today. And we have it in 3 different lanes. How do we address the true cost of living? Right. What do we do around affordable housing? And how do we improve significantly our public services? And as you know, this is home for me. You know, I've been doing this work from the time I was an assembly member to the time I worked for President Obama in the White House. But now I want to make sure that New York City is better, and we deserve change. And I tell people often, if you want to change the game, you have to change the mayor.
Right. Well, let's talk about this cost of living for a minute. Yeah. New Yorkers know, and you hear it more than I do. People say, listen, it's unaffordable to live here. Yeah. People are paying $2,500. We just talked about last segment, $3,000 for rent. Yeah. The minimum wage, the way it is. How do we make New York more affordable for the people who live here? Because there's definitely a push to get other people in, but how do you make New York more affordable for the people who are here?
We need the policies to actually work for us. So first, we need to have a guaranteed income that is actually proportional to living wage, not just minimum wage. MIT just did a report that said that a family with children of two ages would need $69 an hour, but yet people are talking about $30 an hour. It's simply not enough. If you have a guaranteed income, it would actually implement what New Yorkers passed last year, the last election rather, around the true cost of living. We actually are not making policies applicable to what the real costs are. If you're paying $16 eggs or $11 for a gallon of milk, then we got to make things more affordable. We need a local median income. Area median income is not working because it incorporates areas such as Westchester County. And if you're here in the Bronx, you need something that's more specific to your neighborhood. Then take it a step further. We need universal child care. We need to eliminate using credit scores when it comes to rent and home ownership. If we take those kinds of policies, you will actually put more money in people's pockets. And when people are asking me, okay, fundamentally, I want to have a home. Of course, we want to make sure you have that home. That's the reason why I say we need a new Mitchell-Lama 2.0 that's focused on middle-class housing, because essentially you have to be very rich or poor enough to get access to housing in New York City. It's absolutely unacceptable. If you change the fundamental cost when it comes to housing, what's going on with child care, and make sure people have more money in their pocket, then you have a better chance to win in New York City.
Yeah. I mean, I think about New York as I've known it down through the years. And to be honest with you, I remember on Giuliani administration, things were progressing where you had quality of life issues. I see right now, 2025, it's probably the worst it's been. A lot of people are saying, listen, you know what? When I put on a video and I see somebody being burned to death, I see all kinds of other stuff. The quality of life is going to be something that the mayor of the city of New York is going to have to address intentionally. How do you see that playing out?
Well, when Michael Blake is mayor, we're going to make those changes. So that's why that third bucket is public safety. And what do we do around that? If we have more of our police officers doing walking street patrol with body cameras on, then we actually free them up to keep us safe in our communities. And then we have mental health professionals actually addressing mental health concerns in our subways, our bus stations, and across our city. If we do that and amplify the 988 number and actually focus on addressing the deeper concerns, we can make things better. Public schools. We have so many right now that are wondering, how do we actually improve what's going on with our public education? I do believe that we should have civics, financial literacy, and mental health for every child before they graduate, and have a guarantee for every New York City student that when you graduate high school, you can go to CUNY if you so choose. And then that top 35% can go for free. We used to have this type of vision. So if you do these steps, you will address public safety, you will ensure we have better housing, you'll ensure that we have better education so that people can see quality of life. But then we gotta go a step further. We just need cleaner streets. right? We need cleaner subways. People need to feel like our city is actually what it is and what it should be. And right now, we're not addressing these concerns. We're not actually helping our small businesses. We're not helping people to actually know that New York City is a place where they can thrive. And fundamentally, my entire vision at blakefornyc.com lays out, this is the city we can have for our home, our city, our future. Our dreams can be achieved in New York City if you have a new mayor that can change the game.
But when you look at New York City, we understand small businesses, you mentioned lifeblood, right? But yet and still, we found after COVID, not receiving the funding. Everybody else got PPP. A lot of people, Bronx in particular, a lot of people lack this PPP. Small business being the lifeblood. If you got businesses that can't stay open, you got housing. You got a lot of issues here to deal with, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. I received that prophetically right there. So, like, it's that dynamic of, I've run small businesses myself. We have our public affairs firm, we have a TV network, we have our democracy project. So I understand that cost of living for the individual, but also the cost on the business. When 66% of our nonprofits, for example, are providing services to the city, but they're not getting paid on time, it makes things harder. It's one of the reasons why I say there has to be a reform on nonprofit reimbursement, but also make sure we get grants and funding and eliminate bureaucracy for these small businesses. Let's expand out and have more business improvement districts so we can actually make sure our business corridors are safer, but also are economically thriving. Fundamentally right now, it is not easy for our small businesses. And a lot of it is because we just have bad policy and mismanagement. And I remind people, the mayor of New York City is effectively a manager of a $100 billion enterprise. You have a lot of people right now who are hoping they can tell you they can run it. I have led from DC to the State House to locally, and we need someone who understands the dynamics. Lastly, it's not just about the small business and nonprofits. All the attacks that are coming out of DC, we have to have someone who immediately can address that and make sure that we're not raising taxes on New Yorkers. So when people ask me, how do I do all this? One of the things, we have absentee landlords. We have people who have homes here in New York but have homes in other places. Raise a tax on those individuals. If they have the ability to have homes in multiple places, you're then able to pay that from a pied-à-terre. You can cap overtime spending at the NYPD, where we had $1 billion last year that was not tracked very well. There are ways that we can pay for these programs without increasing taxes on New Yorkers and actually improve our quality of life. And that is the type of vision that I want to bring to New York City, and it's the work that I did in the Bronx, and that's what we want to do citywide.
You talk about the work that you do in the Bronx, and obviously you're running for the mayor of New York City, right? That's Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island.
Yeah.
We got to get around, right?
Show love to Manhattan right now.
And Manhattan, I'm sorry. Oh, my God. We're on Manhattan. We're good, too, right? How do you get there? Because the fact is everybody knows you pretty well here, right? Yeah. But then there's other boroughs who say, listen, I don't really know him. How do you get that message across? And how do you instill for those people who are out there? Because there is this sense of, we don't trust government right now, yeah. Right? So how's that happen?
I start in reverse. So I remind people and introduce of who I am. I'm that kid that went to PS 79, 118 DeWitt Clinton High School, went to Northwestern University, had the chance to get trained by and then work for President Barack Obama. I think all of us can see right now when you have a president who actually cares about people, makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. And that giving that sense of, as a son of Jamaican immigrants, where my mama raised 4 boys and worked for 40 years in manufacturing, and my daddy was an $11.99 man and working at St. Barnabas Hospital, people can make that connection to see that I truly believe in government. And when we talk about what's happening across the boroughs, as you know, being ordained, it matters. I've been able to go to different places, whether it's Bethany Baptist in Brooklyn, or Mount Nebo in Harlem, or Greater Allen and Mount Moriah in Queens. Of course, here as an associate pastor at Union Grove with Reverend Crawford as our lead pastor, Reverend Carolina in Staten Island. We can make the rounds. I'm also a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'm a Prince Hall Mason. I'm a 100 Black men. There are networks that we can tap into across the city that allow us to have greater exposure. And when petitions begin on February 25th, with the primary on June 24th, and the next fundraising deadline, March 13th, people need to see you across the city. Our job is to make sure that when people are hearing about a candidate, who is a candidate who actually has the only experience that I do, Michael Blake being that candidate, when we get across the city, we feel very confident that we will win this thing.
Yeah. Talk to me about, this economic stability, because obviously that's what's needed here. If we're going to turn the city around, it has to happen.
Absolutely.
How confident are you?
Very much so. I led the Minority Business Program and African American Outreach at the White House. When I was in the Assembly, I led the prompt pay bill so that we could pay businesses faster in 15 days instead of 30 days that were under 300 employees. That was a bipartisan bill with Republican Jack Martins out of Long Island. We understand this. And again, as a small business owner, I see it very directly. So first and foremost, we have to improve the economic and ecosystem so that businesses can actually hire and thrive and increase wages. But also, dude, that's why I go back to, you have to have a guaranteed income. Fundamentally, you have to make sure people are making more money.
Right.
If you do that, you change everything else. And when people are asking, well, how do you achieve this? Baby bonds are being looked at and being implemented in Connecticut right now. We're seeing it in terms of an effort in Stockton, California. We're seeing right now in Cleveland where they're utilizing hospitals to re-engage the economic stability of the community. We know it's possible right now. And for the reality, we're not doing it because of a lack of leadership. And so when we think about how do we change the game, addressing the true cost of living by putting more money in your pocket and keeping more money in your pocket, having true affordable housing, including and addressing what's going on in NYCHA right now. Why are we still talking about people not having heat and hot water every single year? It's unacceptable. And then having better quality of living through improving our public services. You do all of that, you'll increase economic stability. And clearly, people are looking for a change in leadership to be able to do that. And so I will continue to drive home the point. In the moment that we're in, and the challenges we're facing, we should still believe in government, to your previous question. Government can change lives for the better. And I've been doing this work my whole life, and I'm now asking for the people of New York City to give me the chance to be their mayor. And if they believe in what I'm talking through and the vision of what we want to implement, everything at blakefornyc.com will lay out. Our actual city has a chance because tomorrow does begin today.
So where do people find out more information about the campaign?
So go check us out on our website, blakefornyc.com. You can see the vision, what we laid out around education, around wellness, around economic justice. Of course, on social media, everybody's on social media right now. So if you go to Blake for NYC or Blake NYC Mayor, you'll see that there, or just my social as well, Mr. Mike Blake on X, or Mike Blake 1922 on IG. But you'll find us in those different spaces. But we're ready to show people what's possible and demonstrate that a new generation of leadership is here.
Yeah. Michael Blake.
Yeah. Always.
Thank you, my brother.
Bless you, brother. Thank you.
Bless you. Good to have you again.
Always.
All right, listen, now, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website for, I should say the website at blakefornyc.com. Again, blakefornyc.com, encouraging you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back more open coming up right after this.